Good morning. It is Monday, just after 9 UTC. I just watching everything open up and checking the markets out. Looking at Bitcoin specifically, as usual, yeah, the big move down started happening. We definitely got a big push into that localized liquidity. We grabbed the vast majority of it. Looking for a bit of a lick grab here, followed by a potential bounce, to potentially build some structure up. If there's some further loss of this zone, especially getting underneath 57.5, 57K, we're really looking probably for a retest of lows at 55K. Looking at the higher time frame a little bit for some more general liquidity area here. It looks like the next big levels, yeah, there's not a whole lot at 55, but again, this checks a lot of boxes regarding structure tests. The loss at 55K is probably the one thing that really kind of points us back down to test the lows around 51K potentially. So in any case, we've grabbed the vast majority of the local liquidity stuff, still coming in, but yeah, we'll see if we get that grind down. There's a nice little gap here as well, just under 57K, so very little liquidity, which means low liquidity areas are often places for reversal. But yeah, localized gainer level here is potentially what brings us back up to retest structure at the highs. We were able to stack some more short liquidity above us. We'll see if that's enough potentially to get us targeting higher if we see some regains around, I don't know, 60.2K, something like that. Looking at funding rates, it is Monday. Yep, everything's still coming in generally bullish, which means negative funding rates, incentivizing price to go higher. On the long short ratios, the one thing that we are seeing that's kind of different is that we were hitting the 1-to-1 ratios last week, which is good as potentially upside. Now we're seeing locally that the long short ratio is coming back up quite heavy. It's getting closer to that 2-to-1 long short ratio. So we'll monitor that to see if there's going to be some type of continuation push down, as we have locally broken some structure, especially from the weekly open. And then finally, this week, just looking at some of the data here, big stuff coming out Wednesday, Thursday, and also the PPI, which is on Tuesday. This is going. I'm on GMT right now, so the big thing to keep an eye here is volatility is expected from this stuff. Absolutely, lots of data coming from the UK, lots of data coming from the US. And the big important factor here is that all of these data points right now are going to heavily influence the Fed's decision in September about potentially cutting rates. So we'll keep eyes on that, because if they do cut rates, it'll signal potentially some more risk on for the markets. In any case, looking over at trading light. So we talked about this on Friday. Massive amounts of short orders coming in the restrict price. We did finally, we talked about how we're expecting some forced downside from this. We did. We got the pop back up to retest swing structure and perfectly failed it to come lower. So I'm hope everyone caught that. That was a pretty nice liquidity grab, followed by a nice loss of level. So we do have some stuff to retest above us. There's the block that's going to hold us down is really 60K. So if we do that pop up, the reaction at 60K is going to be telling whether there's enough demand to get us back higher. Looking over at just glancing at the TPO, yeah, we're a little bit underneath it on the 1 hour, so not great looking. Any gain of this TPO, we don't really have a whole lot else to do except come right back up to some high value areas. There's, like I said, 60K, 60.1, that's a high value area with, 2 days in the row up 60.7 and 61K. All of the major resistances is up here, 61.3, 61.4. It's all the major resistance. If we do get above this, likely looking for a massive continuation expansion to the upside. Yeah, and then finally looking at the footprint, easier to read on the 4 hour. Yeah, quite a bit of delta coming in, quite a bit of shorts in this local zone. So like I said, there's definitely enough here if we do see a localized gain to go higher. You're in a pretty tight range as it is right now. I mean, we're doing the typical 0.7, 1.4. So this little last 4 hour period, we're taking at least all the 100x's and all the 50x's in the local structure. So just keep that in mind from the high to the lows, that they're just building the local liquidity for that continuation move. We do technically have some priority down, obviously, since we've broken 4 hour structure to come lower. However, regains, again, gaining back anything significantly local structure, there could be an expansion back up towards 60K. So finally, game plan, looking over at trading view. Yeah, so we talked about this move yesterday. If we have a localized gain of level to pop back higher, we didn't. We actually saw it just wick pretty decently back up into the structure. So that's all done. Coming back down towards the levels of that we're looking for to hold. The local structure is pretty simple in my mind. If we do have a localized failure of the previous weekly open down here, 58.1, there's another level here at 58.3. All of this structure, if it is failed, this level here, we are looking for it to flush all the way back down to this demand zone that we have on the 1 hour at 56K. The likelihood is if we do hold, actually, what is that? 56.7, 56.8. So the idea here is that if we do not hold this zone, this because this is retesting, previous this wick here, especially retesting some previous structure. The loss here would force us likely to do retest back into the lows, 55K, 54.7, that type of structure. So, and the loss here, if we did happen to lose this as well, it does force a major retest of the lows that we currently have put in. So, in any case, the higher time frame actually closed positively. The current weekly open closed above the previous weekly open. That being said, you've got some local priority down. I am looking for potential long back up to test structure if we have a localized regain, low time frame, daily weekly open. Still not long here from the lows that we put in from the beginning of the month to hedge off major shorts from the highs. But the local stuff is pretty simple. Lose this, go lower. If we come back down here, look for that kind of like bounce back up to retest stuff. So see if we hold it on the first bounce or not. And again, if we do have that like last little drive into that liquidity and then we start regaining stuff like the daily weekly open, we are looking for those tests back up at 60K and potentially higher. The big thing here is very simple. If we do have any major gains of all of this major restriction area, which is, there's a weekly level to regain, it's the monthly all-time high close from the previous bull cycle. So all of these high time frame levels combined, I think any gain of this structure means we start targeting something like, 64, 65K. I think that's not unreasonable, realistic. So we're doing the first kind of like major retracement, which we talked about Friday. I think that this is, has the potential to continue to go back up as we've now retested stuff. But I'm not looking to, blindly take longs until we get some local price action moving that direction. So a little bit sideways. Watch for the major volatility events coming in tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, especially. And yeah, set your alerts. That's the easiest way to trade this zone. You can either try to set alert on the daily weekly open, which is 58.7, gain that, go higher. The other alert, I would say, if we do start losing the lows down here around the previous weekly open, which is quite close to 58.1, there's that potential failure to play out this move to test lower. So until then, you're in a really trappy little range, really nasty one. I'm kind of waiting for this to move. I don't like this type of price action. This is basically just wrecking the longs and the shorts in the same area while letting the lower leverage, larger positions build. So keep an eye on it, and that's it. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.